Are the Republicans angling to steal the 2019 gubernatorial election in Kentucky? It just might be the case, guys. Last night, Andy Beshear narrowly defeated Matt Bevin in that race. And Beshear, the Democrat, just edged out Bevin, the Republican, who was a close Trump ally. And since then, there's been a discussion because Bevin has refused to concede. Now, some of this is rooted in the potential need for a recount. That need hasn't been established yet. There's been no evidence of irregularities that warrant such a recount, but it was an extremely close contest, less than 0.5%, only a few thousand votes out of more than 1 million, so maybe there's a case for a recount that hasn't been revealed yet. But much more troubling than that is the rhetoric coming from Republicans at the legislative and Senate level in Kentucky suggesting that they have the right to effectively choose the next governor. And that if there's any sort of doubt about who won, they would have the right to choose the governor effectively, to legitimize the result however they see fit. And of course, unsurprisingly, that Senate and legislature are Republican dominated. So there's a fear from some people, and I don't think without warrant, will try to trump up irregularities and then use that lie to basically steal the election from the Democrats, to basically keep Bevin in office because they can use their legislative majorities to just declare him the winner, whatever the voters wanted. And let's be clear, this really isn't about irregularities because one, we haven't seen any, and two, the Republican leader in the Senate in Kentucky has suggested that because the Libertarian Party got 2%, and that's bigger than the gap between the Democrat and the Republican, and because libertarians are more likely to vote Republican than Democrat, that those votes should effectively be counted as votes for Republican Bevin and therefore against Democrat Beshear. In essence, they're trying to apply the logic of a ranked voting system to a race that was purely first past the post. And so you can see what they're trying to do. They're going to try to go to the recount route. And if that works, hunky-dory, they'll be fine. If that fails, they'll try to find some irregularities. They'll try to find anything they can use to justify not giving the result to Beshear. And then to achieve Democratic legitimacy, the Republicans in Kentucky are going to try to say, well, those libertarian votes were our votes anyway, so really it was 49-51 and the Democrats are just crying. But of course, we know that's not how it works. Green votes don't automatically go to the Democrats. Libertarian votes don't automatically go to the Republicans. Even if you could say with absolute certainty that every one of those libertarians would have voted Republican, or with absolute certainty that enough of them would have to flip the result, the fact is they didn't vote Republican. They voted Libertarian. And unless you have a ranked ballot system, or you have a system with a runoff providing a candidate doesn't get 50% plus one, then you can't play this game of ifs and buts and candy and nuts. It doesn't work like that. So I am very concerned, guys. Right now, we're just at the recount stage. Whether or not you feel it's warranted, politicians all the time have these debates about recounts. But this could very quickly slip into a territory where Republicans, without hyperbole, try to steal an election from the people of Kentucky. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. And some people have noted, very perceptively, that this is a bit of a trial run for 2020. A lot of folks, and I don't think without reason, are suggesting that in a close race, Donald Trump and the Republicans will do whatever it takes to hold on to power at the federal level. Because they know increasingly that demography is against them, that the popular will is against them, and that democracy is not friendly to the Republican Party. So they try to suppress votes. They try to gerrymander. They try to do whatever they can to hold on to their advantage. And when it becomes clear that they still lose, if at all possible, they will steal elections. You might see this happen in Kentucky. David Frum is not a person I'm a fan of. I don't like how the resistance has just welcomed him simply because he's critical of Trump. He's done some awful stuff and still needs to be held accountable for it. But he made a perceptive point when he said that when conservatives start losing democratically, they won't lose their faith in conservatism. They will lose their faith in democracy. And we are seeing that in spades in Kentucky right now. So stay vigilant, because if the Republicans fail at the recount, I have no doubt that they will at the very least consider stealing the election from Beshear and the Democrats. People in Kentucky will need to go to the streets to protest, and they will need to be supported, not just by fellow Americans, but by people who believe in democracy the world over. That sort of theft of an election should not be tolerated.